Hi everyone, this is a really quick overview of the tissues, the main four categories of tissues in the body. Okay, so what are the four tissue types in the body and their important functions? So we're going to go over the four major categories today, and then in subsequent lectures I'm going to go more in depth into each of those categories. So a big thing we're going to do a lot throughout this year is looking at different tissues found in major organs and organ systems. And when you look at tissues and review them, and both for their form and their function, their anatomy and their physiology, we call this histology. Histology is the study of tissues. And we're going to be histologists a lot this year. If we are able to get in the classroom, we're going to use microscopes and slides a lot. And if not, then we're going to do the best that we can digitally by observing real-life images of these different tissues found in the body. Okay. So what is a tissue? Just recall, a tissue is a collection of cells assembled into larger units that work together to carry out specialized activities. Generally speaking, when we talk about tissues, they are comprised of very similar cell types, but many different types of tissues can combine and work and be associated with one another to eventually form an organ. Okay? Now, within those networks of tissue cells, so those cells are connected together to form a tissue, they have to have a way of connecting to one another. And those connections are actually called junctions. There's many different types of junctions. For example, there's something called tight junctions, desmosomes, and gap junctions. They can do things like anchor tissues permanently together versus giving them more of a loose connection versus making all those cells not only connected but have a door that directly merges their cytoplasm, their cell insides with one another, so there's a continuous hallway throughout the cells. Those are many different types of junctions. We're not going to go over all of them, but they do exist, and I just want you to be aware of them. And based on the function and job of the cells, they're going to form different types of junctions. In fact, we'll learn about one later on that's called intercalated discs. There are special ways cells merge together inside the heart. Okay, so the four main tissue types that we're going to go over is epithelial, connective, muscle, and nervous. So a quick summation of their functions is epithelial's main job is to cover your body and body organs. Connective main job is to connect and protect and attach the organs to other parts of the body. The muscle's job is to move you around by contracting. Contracting is a special word for shrinking and expanding their cells, so squishing their cells bigger and smaller, which helps pull around the body. And nervous is to control and communicate. Okay, so going more into depth in what epithelial is because epithelial is always the tissue that's covering your body. That means there's always going to be an apical, I forgot to underline that, an apical surface. A surface that's free, a surface that's not touching anything, that's touching just liquid only or the outside area or food or stomach acid, but it's not touching other tissues. Okay? And so it's playing a pretty big protective role. In addition to that, you'll find epithelial tissue elsewhere in the body, and when it lines your hollow organs and cavities, it plays a role in absorbing, moving, aka transporting, and exchanging materials across epithelial tissues and further deep into the body into other tissues underneath the epithelial tissue, like connective tissues. And last but not least, some types of epithelial tissues, because they're closer to the surface, they make what's called secretions. When you sweat, when you make saliva, when you make mucus, all of those are coming from the surfaces of your body and being released outwards, and those are called secretions, materials that are made and released. And those are made by epithelial tissues, which are always kind of near an opening that allows that thing that's made to be sent elsewhere. Now, connective tissues connect and protect your body, and this is actually the most abundant and diverse tissue type found in your body. There's many types of connective tissues. In fact, if you go in depth in it, I made many lectures on the connective tissues. There's a lot of them. So, some various types of roles they do. They might support your body by holding things in place or attaching parts of your bodies to a different part of the body. So all examples of this, or they may provide kind of like a rigid structure for your body to mold around. So all examples of this is bones, cartilage, tendons, and ligaments. These all provide support or attachment for your body. In terms of energy storage, you have fat deposits, or adipose is made of connective tissue. All right. And then your blood plays a big role. Your blood includes a major role in the immune system and the ability to fight off disease, as well as transporting material around your body, because your blood and the fluid that makes up the liquid part of your blood is capable of moving around your body very quickly and thus transporting materials around your body very quickly. So connective tissue really plays a very diverse set of roles in your body, and as a result, there's actually many categories for various types of connective tissues. But just be aware, they really look different. Compare that to the muscle. So in terms of your muscles, though, there's 3 major types of muscles that we're going to go over. You'll either go over it in this unit, or you'll go over it later when you learn about the muscle system in the body. But in this case here, your muscles play a lot of roles. One thing is it helps movement. So skeletal muscle, for example, is important for moving your skeleton around. Cardiac muscle, the cardiac muscle is what your heart is made of, and is important for moving blood around. And then smooth muscle lines all your organs that move food in your body, your digestive organs, and that's done by smooth muscle, by muscle. In addition to that, there's also other things that's important. Your skeletal muscles, you may not realize this, are really important for keeping good posture, keeping you upright, which actually alleviates stress in your body if your muscles are in the correct position, thus reducing wear and tear. In addition to that, your muscles are really important for allowing you to shiver and generate heat. Babies are unable to shiver very effectively, so that's why babies are a little bit chubbier, because they have special fat that helps keep them warm, since their muscles aren't developed enough to shiver until they're a little bit older. Then the last major category of tissues is the nervous tissue. And nervous tissue, like neurons, and again, you probably know nervous tissue is your brain and your spine. Those are really important for your body's ability to control and communicate your entire body. All right. So on that note, key takeaways is kind of just an overview of what we just talked about. So histology, just reminding you, is study of your tissues, and your tissues are what make up your major organs and other gross structures. Now, if you forgot what gross means, gross anatomy doesn't mean ew, gross, but it actually means large anatomy that you can observe with your eyes without a microscope. There are 4 main tissue categories, which are connective, epithelial, muscle, and nervous. So I'm going to go a lot more in depth in those later on. The epithelial tissue, reminding you, is protective and allows secretion. Connective tissue supports and protects and provides attachment. Muscle allows for movement, and nervous allows for communication. And on that, we are done with the notes. Move on to any other work you have for the day. Bye.